So who are the two sides? Because I think a lot of people might have imagined, okay, this is going to be extreme Islam versus not just sort of the white British population or the rest of the population who don't want that. But it sounds from what you're saying that it's actually more sort of just people versus the state.
I think it goes back to my point about there being two vectors here.
Yeah.
I think the essence of the second is that it's the much larger and much more dangerous conflict. I used the term balkanization to describe that. So your question was, who are the two sides? I don't think there will be two sides. It's going to be way more complicated than that. I mean, this is not untypical of civil wars for there to be, ultimately for there to be multiple sides. If we were to simplify, yes, I think one can say, look, it is the native population. And actually, there's a weird kind of neuro-linguistic difficulty going on here because it's quite hard to describe when you say the native population.
Yeah, who is that?
Who are you? To whom are you referring? It's part of this, really grave semantic difficulty about talking about this this problem. But nonetheless, if we were to
Westerners, could you say the sort of people who are proud of Western values?
Maybe if you were, a common approach is to try to cut this as a cultural issue rather than as an ethnic issue, and I'm broadly inclined to that approach myself, but I'm also rather pessimistic. So I think once things really kick off, it won't stay cultural. It's going to be far too complicated to interrogate people on their culture. It will metastasize fairly rapidly into straight interethnic. My best advice for people trying to get their heads around this is to listen to ex-Yugoslavs talk about the descent of Yugoslavia talk about the prelapsarian Yugoslavia before the outbreak of the civil war there in the early to mid 1990s, where things went, in their view, extremely rapidly from a sense of, that's behind us, it couldn't happen here, to bedlam, effectively, and to people and to a situation in which people, under conditions of very severe stress and fear, responded essentially by looking to the most simple characteristics of what community could provide them safety. And so I would like to say, okay, well, it'll be cultural because it's all about ideas, but it's not going to be like that. Once people start drilling out the kneecaps of each other's children and, throwing religious leaders off of highway overpasses and all of the other things that have happened in civil conflicts in other areas of the world, I just think those niceties will fall away.
So how will you know who your enemy is?
It's very, very difficult. In a nutshell, the way it goes is that there is a period of violence and breakdown which causes people to effectively to flee, and as they flee, what they're doing is it's a kind of assortative movement. So you already see it already. In fact, to some extent, in the middle classes leaving the cities, leaving the big urban centers and moving to either to smaller urban centers or to the countryside. Yeah. So that's already happened. That's been happening for ages. I mean, the government's been documenting this back to the Casey report, which I think was 2016, something like that. So you get this period of violence where the shit's hit the fan, basically. Okay, and what people do, what happens then is the people who have not already fled under conditions in which their movement would not have necessarily have been interpreted overtly as fleeing, now begin to move, and they move in an assortative way. So they look around. Now they're looking around. Where am I going to be safe? That and you just scale that up. There are basically hundreds of thousands of people making that decision. Who is my tribe? Where are they? Where can I go? And they go there. In the process of this assortative movement, people are experiencing loss. So it's quite likely, right, if you leave your home under such conditions, you're not selling your home. You're not realizing the benefits of this. You are in flight, so you have a major loss. You might have suffered violence directly. But the point is that as people begin to make these decisions and to move, they begin to select their tribe. And they also begin to have a direct experience of victimization, which increases their sense of grievance and reduces the entry costs to further violence. This is why when people talk about civil wars metaphorically, they often talk about the tipping point, right? As things rolling downhill and getting increasingly violent and increasingly quick as it goes along. So that's
it's not a very it's not something to look forward to, I suppose.